Good morning, class 12 students. Today I am going to continue with that same chapter, sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Now, you need to know what is fertilization. Now, as I also told you in previous classes, fertilization means permanent union of two gametes. One has to be male, one has to be female, and the union between male and female gamete will result in the formation of a zygote. Now, gametes are unicellular units, so two unicellular units, when get fused with each other, results in the formation of a zygote, which will be diploid in nature. Development of male gametophyte. Now we need to study how this male gametophyte development is taking place in plant body. First of all, the uninucleate pollen grain, as I told you, male gamete has to be micro in nature. So whenever we talk about male gamete, it is the microsporocyte or microspore. These are the terms which we are going to use for the uninucleate pollen grains that are being found to be present in male gametophyte. So what happens? A microsporocyte present, microsporocyte means microspore, they will be present within the sporangia. So that sporangia will be microsporangia, which divides by meiosis to produce 4 haploid microspores. This is the basis of the principle. Now let's go point by point. So uninucleate pollen grain microspore is your first cell of the male gametophyte. Nucleus of this pollen grain divides asymmetrically. They don't follow a symmetry, so they are dividing asymmetrically to form two daughter nuclei, of which the larger one will be called as your tube nucleus and smaller one will be termed as your generative nucleus. So what happens? The inner wall of this pollen grain, which is known as intine, grows and form a small tubular structure called pollen tube. Growth of this pollen tube is also influenced by certain sugary substances secreted by your stigma. So you can see from this picture that obviously the pollen grain is given. The outer layer has been termed as exine. Inner portion you have the nucleus, and within the intine you have your nucleus, and the inner layer has been termed as intine. Now in the next picture, that is in your B, you can see how this nucleus is been how this division of asymmetry has taken place and production of generative cell took place. Even pollen tube formation has also started, and with that you are getting your tube nucleus also, which remains within your pollen tube. So they are divided asymmetrically, resulting in the formation of two new daughter nuclei. One is your tube nucleus and the smaller one is your generative nucleus. Okay. Now pollen tube pierces the stigma for making its way. Now pollen tube pierces the stigma. Why it pierces the stigma? Because they need to make its way to the style and the wall of the ovary, carrying the two nuclei which was being formed. Tube nucleus lies at the top of the pollen tube and generative nucleus just lies behind it. First you will get the tube nucleus, then you will get your generative nucleus. Generative nucleus then again divides to form two male gametes. Pollen tube pierces through the nucellus tissue and comes in contact with the synergrid. So what is happening? Pollen tube has to communicate. So when to communicate, it has to pierces the nucellus tissue and then it comes in contact with the synergrids. Generation of synergrids allow the pollen tube to enter within the embryo sac. So since the pollen tube is piercing the female portion, obviously when it's piercing, that means what? It's been expected that when it's piercing the ovary, trying to come in contact with the male gamete, because microspore can move. Female gamete is unable to move. Female gamete will be stayed at that position only. So anyhow the male gamete has to transfer from the specific portion, come form a pollen tube, come down through that pollen tube, pierce the nucellus tissue of the integuments or the of your ovaries, and then it will come in contact with your gametes, or you can say it will come in contact with the embryo sac. tip of the pollen tube burst, liberating the two male gametes within the embryo sac. So within that embryo sac, two male gametes were there. So after piercing so much, after giving so much of pressure, ultimately it will burst, leading to the liberation of the two male gametes. You can see I have given some pictures also, how this generative cell is dividing, how the pollen tube elongation is taking place. So just go through the pictures. Now we are moving into the next topic, that is development of female gametophyte. Previously we did male gametophyte and now we are going to do female gametophyte. Same thing, in that case, for male we used microspore, for female we are going to use megaspore. So uninucleate megaspore is the first cell of the female gametophyte. It lies embedded in the nucellus of the ovule. It is present within the ovule portion, ovary portion, because that's the portion where it's been expected or hope expected that your female gametes should be present. Okay, so they are going to remain embedded in the nucellus of the ovary near the micropylar end. Now many ends are there. One is your chalazal end, one is your micropylar end. So they are going to be near your micropylar end. Megaspore nucleus divides mitotically. That in microspore it was asymmetry division, but in case of megaspore it has to be mitotic division to produce two daughter nuclei, which move towards the opposite pole. So two daughter nuclei are produced, which will move towards just absolute towards the opposite pole. Two polar nuclei divides two times, forming altogether 8 nuclei. So previously two daughter nuclei are formed, then that two nuclei are going to divide two times, forming a total number of 8 nucleus. One nucleus from each pole move towards the center and fuse to form a second. So 8 nucleus are formed. So from those 8 nucleus, one from the top and one from the down will try to come and move in the center and will try to fuse with each other, which will result in the formation of a proper definite secondary nucleus. 3 nuclei lying at the micropylar region, after being surrounded by a mass of cytoplasm, forms naked cell. They together form the egg apparatus, of which two forms the synagogue and other on the egg. So what they are trying to say is that 3 nuclei, because two already came and fused. Now 3 nuclei which is lying in the micropylar region surrounded by your cytoplasm, they generally form a naked type of cell. So what they happen, they together form the egg apparatus, because individually they are not having that capability. So they will together try to form the egg apparatus to form the synagogues and on the egg. The other 3 nuclei, so 2 came fused in the middle, 3 were left, 3 fused together to form the egg apparatus, and 3 more are left, which is present at your chalazal region. So what they are trying, the other 3 nuclei lying at the chalazal region, after being enveloped, that means covered by your delicate walls, form the antipodal cells. In egg apparatus, the centrally placed cell is your ovum, which is your egg or female gamete, and the 2 lateral cells are called synagogues. So what is happening? 3 which is present micropylar region, they are forming your egg apparatus. 3 which is present at your chalazal region, they are generally trying to get them covered by delicate walls of the antipodal cells and trying to result in the formation of synagogues. Synagogues helps in the fertilization process by guiding the pollen tube, which gets disorganized. So pollen tube is trying to get pierced into the embryo sac. They're trying to come in contact with the female gamete. So generally the synagogues, when they are trying to do that, obviously it's expected that they can get disorganized. So synagogue just helps them to maintain that organization. A fully developed female gametophyte is also known as embryo sac. So for female it's known as embryo sac. Now double fertilization. Please understand properly. The union in flowering plants, obviously it has to be taken place in flowering plants only, of two sperm nuclei, where one sperm nuclei will unite with the egg. That means one male gamete will unite with the one female gamete. So one male when uniting with one female, what will happen? N plus n equals to 2n. Okay, so they will result in the formation of diploid zygotes. So this was your first criteria, from which the embryo develops. So from this zygote, later on it will divide mitotically and you will get your embryo. Okay, and other unites with diploid secondary nucleus. Now don't forget that there was a formation of a diploid secondary nucleus in your ovary portion, because 3 formed egg apparatus, 3 from synagrids, and 1 from each pole came into the middle and results in the permanent unit and form a definitive nucleus. So that 2n was also left, and moreover, when double fertilization is going to take place, 2 male gamete has to fuse. So one male gamete will fuse with one female gamete, result in the production of diploid zygote, and one male gamete will be still left, so that male gamete will fuse with the definitive nucleus, which will result in the formation of your endosperm, which will be 3n in nature. So as 3 haploid nucleus fuses to form the primary endosperm nucleus, hence it is called triple nucleus fission. Yes, it is also termed as triple nucleus fission, and this is the diagram of a double fertilization, how it takes place, how the transfer is going on. So just go through it. So since you are studying double fertilization, why this process occurs, there are certain significance, like it gives stimulus to the plant to which ovary develops. Obviously it will send the signal, ovary will develop into fruits and ovule. It restores your diploid condition, helps in the formation of a diploid zygote, results in the formation of your primary endosperm nucleus, which is also being termed as your pen, provides nourishment, bring about recombination of characters, and even certain times it brings variation. That's why it helps you in the mechanism of evolution. Okay, so today it was this much. I have done the 3 most important topics of this chapter. This chapter is not completed yet, and since I did not cover too much portion of this chapter, so for today's class I have not given you any homework assignment. Wait for my next class. Definitely you are going to get some your homework assignment, and I hope you are going to submit those assignments in correct time. So thank you, and last but not the least, if you have any queries or doubt, please mail me at ankita.sma@outlook.com. Thank you.